And here we are in the exclusive part of the museum. This is where they got high-ticketed cars. And Bill here is part of the family, and you can see what he's done with some of these very big collectibles. Bill, you've had cars in here like Duesenbergs and Delahaye. You've really hit the top of the line of the cars, haven't you?
Yeah, we specialize in the higher end cars, the bigger cars, the classics and that, and they've been really good for us. You know, they say it's a dying breed, but that's not true. We're having a hard time getting the big classics, and
yeah. Well, you've seen throughout the big concourses like Pebble Beach and Meadowbrook and Amelia Island, they get all the big cars and they become restored, and before you know it, they're a multi-million-dollar car. And it's a very expensive class to get into. But here, where at the Volo Museum, you sell, restore, and make it where they can also find a lot of these cars.
Well, these are interesting, George. I don't know if you want to talk briefly
Yes.
about it, but one of the reasons we got into these, the Auburn Bowtail Speedsters, are made by a company called Speedster Motor Cars.
Yeah, they're out of Florida, right?
Yeah, and they're just a beautiful car. They're like a Corvette with a speedster body, and they're really an eye-catcher. And my good friend, famous designer Gordon Burig, designed this car back in 1935. And I've got all kinds of information hanging there. I knew him very well.
I had one of these that we used for Madonna in Dick Tracy, which was a very good piece. And
but the new one's got AC, power steering, power windows, six-way power seats. They got all kinds of goodies on them that the old ones didn't have.
Yeah, the big part about it, they're very drivable.
Yeah, you can get in and drive. You can have the looks of a classic, but you would all drive modern driving components.
Right, so you can be more comfortable and you don't have to worry about getting a lot of damages. But boy, it's just growing more and more. You just put this section in, which is all carpeted and very nice next to the checkerboard place, and then you got this strand of beautiful cars going down that he've B-rolled, and it's so good to see this extension. And
it's a mixture. Greg handles all the muscle 50s, 60s, and I got what's left basically, all the older cars, the 40s, 30s, Model A's, Model T's, and I know them. I'm the older brother, so I know the older cars.
Well, it's so good to see that the group of you expanded so much and you made this beautiful park into an area where I know the many viewers that we see on TV here is going to enjoy it. So,
well, George, it's been a pleasure. My favorite, it's probably obvious, is I like the Auburn Cords and the Duesenbergs. They were built in Indiana, and they're three of my favorite automobiles. And that's probably one of the reasons why I showcase the Auburns, because I just think they have beautiful lines. And the Duesenbergs, we don't have any right now, but last one we sold was almost 700,000, and they're just a beautiful car. One car I've learned to really respect, we had the Tucker convention here last weekend, and we still have one of the Tuckers here in the front, and that was really an interesting story about Tucker. Yeah. Of course, it was dubbed back then as one of the world's safest cars. They were the first to come out with the padded dash, the padded sides, the windows that pop out if you hit the windshield, the Cyclops headlight that turns around the corner ahead of you. I think the original Tucker also had the turning fenders in the front, but they redesigned that to where and I guess, you know, they had a lot of fun with the big three because they were afraid they were so far ahead of their time.
Absolutely. Yeah, right.
Howard Hughes, he had a little hand in it because they needed engines for these cars, and he wanted a pusher. He thought a pusher was a better engine. So the engine is in the back, and you got luggage in the front, and the pusher engine is actually a helicopter engine. That's air-cooled. And Howard Hughes kind of led him on to that factory to where he could buy them.
So you get a good idea of what cars were way back in that period of time so far advanced that some of the advancement the manufacturer would want to halt or slow down until they catch up with what they're doing. So that was one of the reasons why it got to, I guess it was about 50 cars, wasn't it?
I talked to the president of the club, and they actually built 51 production cars and one called the Tin Goose, which is actually a total of 52. And believe it or not, they must be something to the fact that they're one of the best cars the world ever built, because there's 47 that exist today.
Yes.
47 exist, and I believe most of them were used in the movie, The Tucker.
Yeah, in fact, I worked with Jeff Bridges on the movie. We pulled molds from the parts of the car so that it looked like the factory. We had the fenders and the different parts hanging down the factory as if we had an assembly line, and which was a fun picture to be a part of because Jeff Bridges was so great working with
He
that.
did a wonderful part. He played a very flamboyant character that would be much like. And from what I understand from the President Tucker Club, historically it was pretty correct.
Yes.
It was just glitched up for Hollywood, but it was pretty historically correct.
Well, they followed a lot of the trends that was at that period of time, and they went back into some of the books and pulled out a lot of authentic things for the production.
Not to be repetitive, but as you can see, everything is padded. So that in the fact of an impact, everything would be padded. Plus, he was one of the first to come out with seat belts. And there are tucked behind the seat right now, but yeah, there are seat belts in this car. So it's really a very, very safe car. So if you did fly or your body would lunge forward, there's padding all along the dash. And
the radio?
Yes, on the side. The radio's out of the way so you don't hit the knobs on the radio. Pretty unique automobile.
It's very unique.